my first reaction was, I actually congratulated the board for cancelling the event, by the way. I actually put out, I applauded them for that. I would never have written that if I knew the whole what's happened in. And again, when they put out that notice, Conor Benn gave up his licence for the right reason. He doesn't feel that he should be boxing until he's proved his innocence. So he signed his licence, which I think is a wonderful thing. And I've had this from a very good source, but a very close associate of both Nigel's and mine. You know, he was thinking about it, and it's just that when it came through, the letter sort of thing, he thought, well, I better do it now. So that's why he did it. He done that because he wanted to prove his innocence, which is one of the things he wants to work, because they put that letter out, everybody is absolutely categorically calling him a drugs chief. I'm not saying he isn't. What I'm saying is the way it was done. It's not fair, because if he is innocent, it's going to be he's now in a situation of being guilty until proved innocent. It's not that way. It should be innocent until proved guilty. You got the B test, you got all that, but there are situations. I mean, what we've done since this incident happened, our CMO, Professor Michael Graham, started doing research into not only just clomidine, but other banned drugs in the food chain, just to see if it is feasible. You know, and it's funny because, like, a lot of people have been. Ben Doughty posted up something from the coach for one of the Olympic guys that got busted on the same thing at that time, and he was saying, like, you need to have 70 eggs, you know, like to be able to get any kind of level. That's actually not true. Clomiphene, if it's in an egg, will produce between 82 and 266 pg/ml. And by the way, the WADA maximum that you're allowed to have of clomiphene when you have a drug test is just 5. So I've just given you figures of 82 and 266. So it'd be well and truly over the 5, and that's 2 eggs. Now, also we looked into how long it stays into the system and all this and that to produce a trace, which we've been told is 0.2 pg/ml. For that you know, trace, that literally could come from anything. Now, clomiphene or variants of that kind of drug are used for fertility boosting widely in agricultural fields, chicken, ducks, turkeys, sheep, cows, pigs. So it's quite feasible. Now, one of the other things is it's not authorised for use for fertilisation boosting in animals in the UK if they're going into the food chain. That's actually not allowed. But it's widely in use quite a lot around the world, including Europe. Now, go back, I can't remember when it was, it might have been a couple of years ago even. Remember the shepherd's pies with horse meat in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, hang on a minute, they've been doing that for a long, long time and no one have picked up on it. How do we know they're not using meat coming from a fertility boosted situation with clomiphene? We don't. This is the problem. And so to make an automatic accusation, I mean, everyone's saying he's a drug chief. Trace point is 0.2. I told you what the levels are from just eggs. Now, the reason with the UKDA test as well, it wouldn't have even shown because their their maximum allowed in the system is 0.5. So if it's only 0.2, why was it ever reported in the first place? VADA do not have a minimum. A maximum or a minimum. So any reading is reported by VADA. Which
so it could have been 0.01 and it still counts as a trace reading.
It still counts as a trace. Just been handed a note. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say, whey-based protein powders also include the clomiphene. Yeah, Marianne's a nutritionist, and she also reads.
Thank you for that information, Marianne.
They said hi to you, Marianne. There's so many ways. There's so many ways it could have happened. And if it is 0.2, the trace reading, I'd love to get hold of the VAR thing. I have written to them, and they haven't said it because we're not involved in the case or anything else. Oh, they might do now. Said this to you. If it does read as 0.2, then everybody owes kind of an apology, because that is absolutely zero. That
helps explain why it may have not shown on the UK test, because that's what, again, as a casual fan, that's what people are not understanding. Why has it failed on one but not on the other?
Yeah, but let's say the minimum.
Instead, it makes perfect sense why it wouldn't have shown on one test but did on the other.
Yeah.
So it makes it more. The situation's been handled by everyone.
It's been terrible.
As honey out to dry in a way, because of he's getting all the flack. But then the casual fan who doesn't understand the world of boxing at all, it looks like he's failed a test, he's saying nothing, he's given up his licence. The fight was postponed, the traces come out before that. So as a general dog's body fan, it looks really bad.
It is really bad, the way the whole thing's been done. Bearing in mind is the board knew from the 23rd of September about the VADA trace reading. Now, they obviously decided, and I'm going to turn around, I'm going to be absolutely upfront to everybody. If I got a VADA trace reading of 0.2 and then there's a minimum of WADA, I would allow that fight to go ahead. I wouldn't think so. There may be a reason why the board's done it. I'm actually giving the board a way out here. Which, right, 23rd of September, they knew of that. Now, you've got to bear in mind is that there was all the stuff coming out of the Daily Mail that Chris Eubank Sr. didn't want his son to do the fight. Yeah, well, none of us knew what that was about necessarily because he wasn't clear. Seeing Chris on the cut and weight thing, I understand now. That was almost certainly about that. But I wondered if because bearing in mind is they would have been informed as well. I'm wondering if that's why the board acted when it came out in the Daily Mail. And they go, oh, we'll have to do something now.
Do you think the promoters had a responsibility back in September to maybe just let people know that there's something going on and we're going to postpone the fight? Or do you think they needed just to wait to the boards? I've got
to be honest. The promoters should just be focusing on making the show go ahead. So it would have been the responsibility of the board to have kept him involved day to day. I would like to think that most promoters, and I don't know Eddie as well as I know his dad, but I think in Barry's case, he probably would have sat down and gone through everything before making a decision to proceed anyway. I don't. And I think he would have looked at all angles. He wouldn't have done something in a rush or whatever. He'd look at all angles. Because at the end of that, that's cost them millions. What nobody actually realises here, that's cost Matchroom millions, let alone the fighters, their purses. That happening in that way, out of their control, without proper consultation or facts being given in reality. I don't know, maybe they were talking before. The way Eddie was shocked that it didn't go ahead. I know Wasserman's still believed it was going ahead, even after,
I think I'm just giving my opinion as an outsider looking in. I think what didn't help the situation was on the Wednesday night, how Wasserman and Matchroom were saying, well, we'll just go look at another sanction body or we'll go to the law. My point was what I'm saying. So that happened on the Wednesday night. And then on the Thursday, it was like, oh no, the board had made a great decision. It needed to be called off. And I think that's what people are not understanding. But Eddie has come out since and said, you've got to think he just had this news and then he turns up to a place and there's a load of cameras in his face. And everything come out public. So he didn't have time to process it and think about what he was going to say. So I get it might have been a knee-jerk reaction to say, "Well, sod the ball, we'll go somewhere else, or we'll get lawyers involved."
No, I do know that. I do know that Wasserman's was talking to someone else because they called me, the other commission.
Credibility sometimes of the promoters, because it seemed like they'd done a U-turn in 12 hours. 1 minute they were going to do everything they can, and the next minute, because there was a backlash to say this fight shouldn't go ahead from the fans, it was like, oh no, it's not going ahead. And I think that's what it doesn't sit well. But
no, it doesn't. None of it sits well.